Hey guys, in this extremely actionable, really tactical video, I'm going to show you how you can make your own website, any kind of website, using WordPress and a simple drag and drop page builder that I personally use on all of my full service website client projects. Now, usually a DIY website means resorting to something really limiting like Wix or Squarespace. But this method I'm going to show you is different. It's a website that you're going to own, and other than a really small monthly hosting fee, it's completely free. And I'm even going to save you some money on that part too. And rather than just making a site for a fictional business, I actually asked you guys to submit your own websites so that I could basically do a little makeover on one of them for the purposes of this tutorial. And I got a ton of submissions, but I decided to go with Omega window cleaning site. So that's what we're going to be building here today. But don't worry, even if window cleaning has nothing to do with your own business, it doesn't matter. What I'm going to walk you through today can be used for any business out there and is especially useful for any service-based businesses. So if that's you, you're going to walk away from this video knowing how to quickly and painlessly create and publish any page you ever need for your business. And that's without knowing any code and without being a designer. So here is what we're going to walk through. So I'm going to walk you through buying your domain name, getting set up with a cheap, reliable hosting plan, designing your homepage, designing a handful of other pages you're likely to need, and then adding your header and footer. And then finally, we'll hit publish on the whole thing and take it live and online. So let's head over to the computer and get going. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is buy your domain name and your hosting. So I recommend Bluehost. I've been using them for a long time. I just really like their service. And so basically it's normally $8 a month, but if you use my affiliate code, you can get it down to $3.95 a month. And I'm actually going to show you a way in a second to get even more off. But go to get my affiliate link, you just go to wesmcdowell.com/hosting. wesmcdowell.com/hosting. It'll redirect you here and then just click on Get Started. So then I would just choose the basic plan, click on Select, and here is where you can either create a new domain from scratch or you use one you already have. So I'm going to buy hosting here for, I'm just going to type in omegatemporaryserver.com. Here's where you'd put in whatever domain you're trying to get, and then you click on Next to see if it's available or not. If it's not, you just have to try a different version, but this one's available. So then you're just going to put in all of your information here. You can just sign in with Google and it'll fill in most of it for you. So go ahead and put all of it in. And here is where you can actually save a little bit more money. So when you're on this page, just take your mouse up to the back button like this, and then that's going to pop up. They're basically trying to give you more of an incentive to sign up. So now, instead of $8 a month, it's $2.65 a month. So that's a pretty good deal. Click on Claim Savings. Cool. Then just fill all this stuff out, choosing your package. I recommend just getting 36 months at a time. And then you can go ahead and unselect these. I don't think they're that necessary. It just brings it down even more. And then put in your payment information and click right here and then click on Submit. All right, and once you're signed in, you're just going to go over to where it says My Sites and then click on Create Site. And here's what you'll put in: your business name. And tagline's not super important. I'm just going to click on Next. So if this is your main site, then you're just going to have it be, so it's going to be whatever your domain is, and then it's just going to be a slash. So you're not going to put anything there, and you'll just click on Next. Okay, so it says it's been installed successfully. WordPress has been installed successfully. So then you're just going to go and click Log into WordPress. And it's going to take you right to your back, the dashboard area of WordPress where we can get started. Okay, so now this is your WordPress dashboard area. So there are a few things you want to do to get going. The first thing is to add the Elementor plugin. So go over to where it says Plugins, Add New, and right over here where it says Search Plugins, I'm going to type in Elementor. This is what's going to let us build in that drag and drop way that's so easy to do. So go ahead and just find Elementor Page Builder and then Install Now, and then on Activate. Cool, so that is activated. And the next thing we need to do is add our theme. So we're going to go down to Appearance and then Themes. And there's a specific theme that I like to use with Elementor. So I'm going to click on the plus down here where it says add new theme, and I'm going to type in Astra. So just go right here and then click on install and then on activate. So now we've got our theme activated, which is Astra, and we've got our Elementor page builder plugin, and that is all we need to get started. But there's one thing you might want to do before we go, which is choose your basic font scheme for your site, because we're going to want to input that in a second. So what I like to do is go to fonts.google.com, and they've got almost too many fonts to choose from. They've got a ton of them. So what I would recommend doing is go here, spend maybe 20 minutes, pick out some good fonts. I have one picked out that I want to use for this site, which is Montserrat. It's just a really nice, clean font with lots of nice weights, so it's very versatile. But let's go back to our WordPress, and we can now get going. So the first thing to do is go over to Pages, and then click Add New. So we're going to start with the home page. So just click on Homepage for title. And then before we do anything else, we're going to go over here to the right sidebar, and under Disable Sections, I'm going to just check all of these boxes like that, and then go up to Edit with Elementor. Okay, so this is the area where we're going to actually build our site. But before we do that, we actually want to take a step and set our fonts and our colors if you have any colors selected. So go up to these three little lines over here, the hamburger menu, and click on Default Fonts. So here we can set the different headlines, the body text, and the accent text, which will pop up mostly in buttons and that kind of thing. So I'm going to make this very easy and just choose Montserrat for all of them. I'll give the primary headline a bit more weight. I'll give that a 900, so that's the boldest, and then the thinnest would be 100. And then secondary headline, I'll do Montserrat, and I'll do 300. And then body text, I'll do Montserrat as well, also 400. All right, cool, and I'm just gonna click on Apply. And then if you have a color scheme, if you already have brand colors you wanna use, you would go up to default colors, and you would set those right up here. But we're not going to do that. We're just going to change the colors as we go. I think that might be more helpful for you. So let's go ahead and get started here. So there are several different ways to add a section. So let's just go over those real quick. So you can either click on the folder icon, which is going to bring all these pre-made pages, which is one way to go. But I tend to think that the pre-made pages, they basically lock you into different formats that might not serve your content very well. So that's why I prefer blocks, where it basically has all these different styles of blocks that you can just customize with your own photos and icons and all that good stuff. And that way you can always just kind of choose the right section to fit your content. And one thing you do need to look out for, so what we're working with today is the Elementor free version. There is a pro version, which I actually recommend. I like it. It's $50 for a year, but anything that falls under that is going to have this little pro icon in the top corner, meaning you can't use it unless you've paid for the premium version. So we're going to ignore all of those today and just do what we can for free. So you can choose all these different blocks, and there's different categories as well. So if you click here, you can see About. Those are just ones for the About sections. You can do some that are contacts, some that are, frequently asked questions. So they come in all these different categories. And then the other way to build things is just to do it by, free form. So you just would click the little plus symbol instead. And then what you can do is choose how many columns you want. In this case, I'm going to just choose one column. And what we're working with here is what's outlined in blue right at the very, very top. So let's go ahead and give this a little bit of weight. So it's not just a skinny thing at the top. We'll click on the grid in the middle, and then we'll go over to layout, and we will do on height, rather than default, we'll say fit to screen. And that makes it as big as the browser window is. So this being the top hero section of the website, what we need is a headline and a subheadline. So I'm going to click right up here, this little grid, and here's where everything lives. So basically all the different elements that you can use on a page are going to be right here under basic and general. There's more if you have Pro, but this is all we've got to work with for now. So I'm going to take a heading and just drag it right into this gray box. And then I'm going to click this again, and I'm going to bring in the text editor and drag it right underneath. Okay, so let's go ahead and edit our text. So basically, again, I'm working from an existing website, so I'm getting all my copy directly from them. I'm not changing anything. So I'm just going to add in their headline and their subheadline. Then what we need is a call to action button. So I'm going to go back up to the little grid and then go to button and drag that into place right underneath the subheadline. Okay, so now we're going to style this guy because right now it's looking pretty bare bones. So the first thing we want to do is add a background image. So come back up and click the whole section by clicking on the little dots here in the middle, and then go up to Style on the left. And now we can choose different background types. We can choose a color. We can choose a gradient and just choose the different colors. We can choose a video if we want, or a slideshow. But what we're going to do is we're just going to choose an image. So go to Classic, and then under Image right here, click on Choose Image, and then you're just going to find the image that you want to use, and you're just going to drag it right onto the stage here. And it's always a good idea to give it some alt text just for SEO. So I'm just going to type in Omega Window Cleaners and then insert media. And I'm not going to do that for the rest of them, but just know whenever you add an image, it's always good practice to add some alt text there. And click on Insert Media. And there's a few things I want to do to this. So basically, first of all, I want to set attachment to fixed. So what that does is now let's look at the difference. So when you're on scroll or default, that image scrolls with you. But I kind of like the effect of when it's on fixed, it stays in place and everything kind of scrolls right past it. Then you're going to go to repeat, no repeat, and then size, cover. So basically that sets it just to be big enough to cover the entire section, no bigger. But of course now we can't really read this text very well. So there's a few things we're going to do. We're going to, first of all, I'm going to give this a white background. So you're going to choose the column, just basically choose this dark gray element here, go up to Style, and then background type, Classic, and here's where you choose whatever color you want. I'm just going to make it white, but then I'm going to knock it back a bit so it's not just pure white. You can kind of see through it a little bit. And I think that looks pretty good. And now I'm going to give it kind of a rounded corner look as well. So let's go down to border, and then border radius is how you do that. So all the link values are going to be, all the values are linked together here unless you uncheck it. So if you just start scrolling up here, it's going to see how, it's kind of hard to see maybe, but basically it's rounding off the edges right here. So, and I like that effect. So I'm going to leave it that way. And now let's go up to advanced because there's obviously there's no space between the text and the border of the box. So let's go ahead and fix that. Go to advanced, and here's where we have margin and padding. So padding refers to the space within the box. So it's like if I were to make a padding, let's just see what happens. So I'm going to just click on the up arrow to increase the padding. So that gives us more space on the inside of the box. If we were to do that in margin, it basically says nothing can be, within a certain distance from the outside of the box. So now let's go ahead and style the text. So first of all, let's choose the headline text. Just going to choose that and then go to Style. And let's fix the text color first. I've picked out a color of blue that I like. So once we've got that set, let's go to typography. This is where we can choose like the different font weights and the size and all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and make it bigger. First of all, we can make it any size we want to. Let's go ahead and make it 48. And then under transform, I'm going to make it all uppercase. And if I don't like how chunky it is, I could go to weight and I could choose a different treatment there. I might actually like that a little bit better. And if I feel like there's too much or too little space between the lines, that's what line height is for. You can make it as spaced out or as close as you want to. So I'm going to keep it like this. I think that looks pretty nice. Actually, I'm just going to drop it back down to 1 the default. And now let's talk about the subheading underneath. So that needs to be bigger. So click on that. And then again, go to Style. I'm going to make the text color black because right now it's kind of a weird gray color. For some reason, they like to default to that, and I feel like it never reads very well. But anyway, so now typography, and we will make it a bit bigger, easier to read. I think that looks pretty nice. Let's go ahead and center this by choosing center. For some reason, they do it this way. So when it's a headline, the alignment is under content, and when it's a text editor, it's under style for whatever reason. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the headline, go under content, center align it just like that. All right, now let's give some attention to the button. So go ahead and click on it and then go to, we can, first of all, let's give it the correct verbiage that we want to use, which is not click here, but get a quote. And I like a bigger button. So basically it lets you choose the size. So I'm going to go from small to large. I'm going to center it, and then I'm going to go up to style and then choose background color to change that. I've got a nice teal color I've picked out here. And now we can start looking at the actual text on it. So go to typography, and I'm going to make sure, it doesn't look like it's the right font, which it's not because I didn't set that. So cool. So I'm going to make sure it's Montserrat, and I'm going to choose transform uppercase. Now, depending on how you like to style a button, like this is basically just a complete rectangle. You know, it's all squared off. But if you want to make the edges rounded, just go to border radius. And, you know, you can choose it like maybe that looks pretty nice. Or if you want it to be more of a pill shape, you just keep going all the way up and it just makes it round on both sides, which I kind of like that. So I'm going to leave it like this. And the only thing that I'm not digging right now is the amount of space between this and the button. So I'm going to choose the text. I'm going to go over to advanced, and here's where margin comes into play. And remember, if I were to want to change the bottom margin and just hit on the down arrow, it's going to change it for everything there. We don't want that. So I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to unlink the values together. So this is only going to happen on the bottom. So I'm just going to go negative here until it gets to a place where I like it. That looks pretty good to me. Now, the only thing left to do is I think I want this to all be a little less wide. So I'm going to choose the entire section, go to layout, and here's where you can mess with how wide or narrow it actually is. So to me, this looks really nice. It's nice and centered. And I think this is just a really nice looking composition. And before we continue down the page, I just want to show you a different way you can do this if you want. Let's say you didn't want this box behind it. You just wanted it to be kind of an overlay over the background image. So let's go ahead and just quickly restyle this. So click in here for the column, then go to style, and then under background, we're just going to hit clear, and then we're going to go up here and choose the whole section and go on style, and then not background, but background overlay is where you can control this. So just go over to background type classic, and then choose any color. Just choose let's just choose black, and then you can control the opacity. You can make it really dark, you can make it lighter, whatever works for you. So let's say we wanted to do that and then make this easier to read, so then you just click on that. And text color, make it white, and do the same for that right there. Choose white. So that's a different way of doing it, but I am going to put it back the way it was, just showing you a different way. So just go down to where it has the little arrow under history, and here's where you can go back in time and kind of go back to the way you had things. So I'm just going to put it back. There we go, and moving on. Okay, so let's scroll down, and here's where we're going to add a new section. So I'm going to click on the plus sign and come up with a 2-column structure this time, because I want some text over here and an image or a video over here. So let's go over to the grid and choose a heading, drag it right there, and then a text editor, drag it right underneath. And if we want to put an image over here, we just go back up to the grid and choose image. Just going to drop that right in there like so. And now the first thing I want to do is give this some breathing room, because see how close it is to the top section and to the bottom here? So just click that whole section and then go to advanced. and we're going to give both the top and the bottom some padding. So I'm going to unlink the values so it doesn't affect what happens on the sides of it, just top and bottom. So I'm going to give it a 50 and a 50. Actually, let's go ahead and bump this up to 100 on both. I think that's going to look a little cleaner. Okay, so now we're going to put in our real text to get rid of the placeholder here. And then for the text underneath it, same thing. I'm just going to paste in what I've got. And okay, so I'm not really happy with how bold this text is, as it turns out. So I think what I'm going to do is let's just click on that and then go to Style. And then under Text Color, I'm going to change that to this blue color that I've already come up with. And then I want to change the weight and the size of the text as well. So click on Typography, and I'm going to drop the weight down to maybe 600. And maybe even lighter. Let's go with 400. I like that. And if we want to make it bigger, we can adjust the size here. I think I like it just about like that. And I'm going to add a little bit of line height so it's not so cramped looking. That looks nice. Okay, so now we've got this placeholder image. So how do we control what goes there? Just go ahead and click on it. And then on Choose Image on the left, click that. And here's where you can just drag any image you want right onto the stage and it'll upload it. And then click on Insert Media, and there you go, it's right there. But what if we wanted a video to go there instead? Let's go ahead and delete this. So just click over, right click on this, and then click on Delete. And then let's grab the video element from right over here and drag it into place. So here's what we've got. Basically, any YouTube or Vimeo video can be placed here. So you just find the link to it. So basically, if you had a video, you would upload it to YouTube or Vimeo, then you would link to it right here. And one more cool thing you can do, if you wanted to add a specific kind of image overlay on top of it, what you can do is go down to Image Overlay, and then click on it to show it. And here's where you can drag any image. So let's just go ahead and choose that one again. And then that becomes the thumbnail graphic for the video. So before we move on from this section, I want to add one more element to it. So let's click the section and go over to Style. I want to put a background graphic kind of behind this, like kind of sparkles signifying a clean window, right? So I'm going to go on Background and Background Type, click on Classic, and then choose Image. And I'm going to drag this nice sparkle image I found right here, and then click on Insert Media. Okay, so here it's kind of gone out of control. It's on repeat basically. So what we want to do, I think I just want it to be once over here on the right side of the screen. So I'm going to click on repeat, no repeat, and then position. Here's where you can set like all these different types of positioning. So I think I want center right. So let's go ahead and choose that. And that drags it right over here. And I think that looks pretty nice. But I think I want to set it to fixed. Remember how, see how that image doesn't move as you scroll past it? I think I want to do the same with this one. So I'm going to click on Attachment, Fixed. So then as you scroll through, it goes right from that to that. I think that looks really nice and clean. Okay, so moving on, now I want to put a little section where we'll put our top 3 benefits to working with you. So click on the plus sign, and let's choose a 3-column structure here. 3 benefits, 3 columns. And the first thing we'll do, because I want it to be kind of color blocked, all like full width. So what we want to do is under layout, rather than boxed, which is like this is boxed, it's set in a specific width, but what we want to do here is set it to full width. So the idea being it's going to be a colored box with the benefit, another colored box, and another colored box. So let's go ahead and just style one of these, and then we can repeat it and change as necessary. So go up to the grid and choose on an icon, and just drag that right into place, followed by a heading, followed by a text editor. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is change the background color. So what we have to do in this case is change it by column. So I'm going to click on this column, go up to Style, Background Type, Classic, and then I'm just going to put in this blue color that we've been using. And I'm going to change, let's go ahead and change the colors here as well. So click on the icon first, Style, Primary Color, let's set it to white. And we'll do the same with both the headline and the body text. Okay, so once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and set the padding within this because again, it's all a little too close to the edges. Actually, first I'm going to set these to be center justified. So I'm going to click on the headline and then content, center, body copy, center. Perfect. So now let's click on the column itself and go to advanced and then on padding. And I'm not going to unlink this. I want it all to go together. So I'm just going to start bringing this up to where we get a nice sense of border around this. I think that looks nice as is. I think I'm just going to change the text style here. Okay, so I like overall how this is styled at this point. So actually, the better thing to do rather than do this again here and here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to right-click, delete, and then go over here, right-click, duplicate, and duplicate again. So now we're left with 3 columns, and I'm just going to go ahead and change the color of this middle one up to style, color, and then I'm just going to paste the color code here. Perfect. Now I'm just going to add the actual text here. Okay, so I've got the actual text here. Now the only thing to do is to change these icons. So we want to choose ones that kind of go with the benefits here. So you'll just click on each one and go to content. And here's where you can go to the icon library. I think there's like 1,000 icons in here. So you should have no problem choosing something you like. So click on icon library, and I'm just going to choose a few icons that I think fit here. Okay, so I've chosen appropriate icons, and if you want to change the size, just click on one and go to style, and then you can, drag the size up as big or small as you want it. I think something like that looks nice right there. And then in order to apply that to the rest of them, all you have to do is go choose the element itself, right-click on copy, then go to this one and paste style, and paste style. And that's a really good thing to know because let's say you wanted to change, that works on just about any element. If you wanted to change the font size on this, you would change it to what you want and then copy, then you'd paste style here, paste style here. So it works with images, icons, colors, and text. Okay, so time to build our next section, and rather than doing it from scratch, we're actually going to use a pre-made block this time. So click on the folder icon. And I want a 2-column layout where I can basically show the steps it takes to work with us. So go ahead and choose features. I think that's where this one's going to be. Yeah, this one right here is what I want to use. So click on insert. And then here it's going to ask you to connect to the template library. So just click on get started. So you're just going to have to make a free little account, and then you're just going to click on connect. Okay, so here we go. We've got 2 columns. And first of all, I'm just going to put in the actual content we're going to use. Okay, so I've input the right text. Now let's go ahead and restyle it the way we want it to go. Again, by going up, choosing each element and going up to style. Okay, so I've changed the color over here, and I've changed the first one how I want it to be with the right color font and the uppercase up here. But what I don't want, before we duplicate this here, I don't actually want the little icons in front. I find it unnecessary here. So let's say you want to delete that. Just choose the little section here, go to content, and then where it has the icon, just click on the trash can, and that gets rid of it. So now that I've got this one the way I want it, I just right-click on copy, and then paste style, and paste style. But I guess it's actually going to make me delete those icons manually, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now this is okay, but I think it's a little, lackluster. So I want to show you something cool here. So go ahead, let's add in an image right underneath this headline, like so. And See how it's jutting up right against the text over here? Let's see what we can do about that. So click on the section in total, and on layout, what we're going to do, that's what columns gap is what controls that. So right now it's no gap. Set it to wide. That gives us a nice little gap between them. Okay, so the content is all here, but let's dress it up a little bit with an image. So go ahead and click on image and drag it right underneath the headline. And here's where we can choose something. So I've got this little squeegee image, so let's go ahead and pop that in there. And there's a lot of cool things you can do actually in terms of movement. So let's go ahead over to advanced and then motion effects. And here's where you can choose, like, so let's say you're scrolling down the page and you want this not to just be here, but to fade in from the left or fade in from the bottom. So this is where you control that under entrance animation. So we've got just fade in, we've got fade in down, fade in up, or from the sides. And we've got all these different kinds of things as well. So there's so many different ways to choose from. So just play around with it and see what works. And I do want to show you something even cooler. Like I thought with the squeegee, this is a great way of showing you now. This is part of the Pro Elementor. So let's pop over to another install I have where it's actually got the Pro, just so I can show you what's going on here. So with the Pro version, you can actually set these like motion effects. So it goes down and it fades out as it goes. So there's a lot of really cool things you can do with the Pro version, just so you know if you decided you wanted to go that way. But for now, it's not necessary. Let's just go back over to what we're doing. Okay, time for our next section where we're going to show our services and give people an easy way to jump to each different service page. So let's go ahead. Let's say we've got 4 services like this business does. So we're going to do a 4-column layout and start by under layout going to full width. And so each service has a little button that can go to its page. Let's put a button in each of these. So go up to the grid and we're just going to choose a button and we're going to drag one in each one of these columns. Okay, before we go any further, let's go ahead and just add the correct text in each of these for the services. You're going to just click on each one and then go under text, and that's where you enter the text as it appears. Okay, so we've got all 4 services. Now let's put a background image behind each one, which basically sells the idea of each of these. So to do that, click on each column individually, and then go up to Style, Background Type Classic, and then choose Image. And I'm just going to choose this guy right here, click on Insert. But see how it's pretty shallow here. So what we want to do is we want to give this button some breathing room. We want to be able to see the image behind it. So choose the column and go to Advanced. And let's go ahead and adjust the padding here. So I am going to unlink the values. I want to give the top and bottom about 100 pixels. I'm going to do left and right about 30. And there's a few things I need to do here. So basically this image has been uploaded in full resolution, so it's a big one. So what we want to do is, rather than it showing just a small part of the image, we want to shrink it down. So choose the column, go back up to Style, and then under the background image, under Size rather than Default, we want to go to Cover. That just makes sure that the image covers the entire area while being as small as possible. So now let's go ahead and style the button. So the first thing we want to do is center it. So click on that, and then under Content Alignment, Center. And I'm going to go up to Style. I'm going to give the background color, I'm going to make that black. And I also want the text to be styled a little differently as well. So I'm going to go to Transform Uppercase. I'm going to make sure the font is correct too. It doesn't look correct to me, so I'm going to go to make sure it's Montserrat. There we go. And make it a little bolder. So let's choose, I think it's already at 500. Let's choose 700. That looks pretty good. And if we want to make it a little bigger, we can do that as well. I like that. So now I want to add a little bit of an overlay over the image too. So I'm going to click on the column and under Style, Background Overlay, and I'm going to choose just a classic overlay and choose black. All right, so I like the way this looks. So now I'm going to right click over the column and click on Copy. And then over here, I'm going to do Paste Style. paste style, and then once more paste style. And I'm going to do the same with the buttons. So right click, copy, paste style. All right, cool. So now it's identical. Now all we need to do is change the background images. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. Once again, for each, we're just going to click on the column, then go to style, and we're just going to click here to choose image. Okay, so there we go. Now we've got 4 buttons that'll take people to the right service for them. So time to start with the next section, which is going to be testimonials. So I'm going to start again with a pre-built block. So click on the folder and then under blocks, and then under category, remember here we can look at all these different categories of blocks. So I'm going to go down to testimonials. So we're only left with those. And look, a lot of these do have the pro designation on them, meaning you can't use them if you have the free version. So let's choose a free one that serves our purposes. So I'm just going to choose this one right here and click on insert. Okay, so I'm just going to do some quick restyling of the text. You should already know how to do that. All right, now that I've done that, let's put a little bit of a photo background behind here. So choose the section and then go to style, and then under background, actually I want to quickly show you the video option. So this is a cool thing to do too. So if you want to choose that, click on video, and then you would just link to any kind of a video on YouTube that you have the rights to use. So let's just choose one right here. This isn't like super appropriate to this theme, but so here's one we could use in the background, and obviously we'd have to style this so it shows better. But if you have a video you want to use, that is one way to go, and you can always do the background overlay on top of it, which kind of knocks it back a bit with a color, something like that. But let's actually just make this an image, make it easier on ourselves. So I'm going to go back up to background, and I'm just going to choose classic. And let's go ahead and choose an image that works. And click on Insert Media. Okay, so we've got this nice background image showcasing some windows back there. But what I'm noticing now is these boxes are also pretty much transparent, which isn't really good for readability. So let's click on the first column and then go up to Style, Background Type Classic, and we're just going to choose a white background, just like so. And I'm going to, so we can apply this to all the rest of them, right-click on Copy, and then paste style, paste style. So then basically, and obviously these are placeholder reviews, so you would just click on each and you would put the right content in here. You would change the image to an actual picture of your client or customer here. And see how they have it's called title. So it's the person's name and then their job title. What I actually like to do for a testimonial instead, this is one little pro tip I'll give you, is instead of having the person's kind of job title, I like to do 5 stars. So the way you do that, just Google web emojis and you'll get to a page like this. I'm just going to type in star. I'm going to look for that one. I'm going to find the most basic star we can right here, and I'm just going to copy it and then go back, and then rather than designer, I'm just going to type in 5 stars, just like that. And then I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to do the same over here and over here. Now that just reads much more like a testimonial to me. So let's take a look at our homepage so far. Starting from the top, the hero section, all the way down for the video section and the benefits and the steps it takes to work with you, your services, and your testimonials. So what's missing now is the header and the footer at the bottom. But before we get there, we need to actually build a few more key pages. So to get out of this preview mode, you're just going to find, it's really hard to see, but there's a little arrow over here on the left that when you hover over it, it turns that pink color. So go ahead and click on that to get us back to the sidebar. Then click over on Update or Publish if you haven't published it yet, just to save all your changes. That's really important. So in order to add new pages, what we have to do is get back to the WordPress dashboard. So go up to the hamburger menu on the top left, and then exit to Dashboard. Okay, so now we've left the Elementor editing area and now we're back in WordPress. So to add a new page, the first thing we're actually going to do is because the next page we're going to build is the get a quote form page. So we need a plugin for that. If you have Elementor Pro, this is built into the functionality already, but if you're going with the free version, we need a workaround. So go to plugins, add new, and we're going to search for contact form 7 right there. So go ahead and install that and then activate. So then to build that form, just go over to Contact and click on Contact Forms. Now it's already going to have one pre-built for you, Contact Form 1. So let's just go ahead and edit that really fast. So right now, like this looks kind of technical, but stick with me for a second. So what we have here is a field for your name, your email, subject, and your message. So what this form is going to look like is it's going to have a field saying your name. So basically people need to put in their name. They need to put in their email address. They need to put in a subject and a message. We're going to change this a little bit to make it a little bit more actionable. We probably want to, if it's a quote form, we probably want to get their phone number. So I'm going to change subject to your phone. And then I'm going to change this your subject. I'm going to change that to your phone as well. And then rather than just your message, because that's not very clear. What we want people is to tell you exactly what it is they need so that you can get back to them with the quote. So I'm going to change that text from your message to what do you need cleaned? Please tell us how many windows you need cleaned and anything else we should know. And then this down here where it says send in quotes, that's the text that's going to be in the button itself. So I'm going to change send to get my quote. And you may want to change this. You may want to add a few things here, but I just want to keep this really basic for you because most of the times this is all you need. So I'm going to click on save and I'm going to take this short code, see where it's in blue, copy this short code and paste it into your page. So I'm going to click on that and just Command C to copy that. Okay, so now let's make that page. It's a really simple page to make. So just go over to Pages, Add New, and I'm going to call this Quote Request. And we'll go over here to the right and we're going to disable all of these sections. Always important to do that. And then edit with Elementor. So let's start with a pre-made block. So click on the folder, then go over to Blocks. And let's see, something just really simple like this one works just fine. So I'm just going to click on Insert. And then what I'm going to do, so we're going to change this text in a second, but before we do, just click up. We're going to want to put that form in because we copied the code for it. So go and click on the grid over here. And we're looking for something called short code. So go all the way down, or just if you scroll down, you'll find it. And we're going to drag that into place right here. And then right here where it says enter your short code, we're just going to paste what we copied before. See, so we've got all these things that we set up, your name, your email, your phone, what do you need cleaned, and then get my quote. So that's our form. And now let's go ahead and just change this a bit. First of all, we don't need that button, so I'm going to right click on delete. And I'm just going to quickly restyle this text. Okay, so I've updated that text. The only thing is, I feel like there's maybe a little bit too much space between this and this. So let us go ahead and change that. So I'm going to just choose this, choose this whole section up top, go to Advanced, and here we've got 100 pixels of padding on the bottom. So let's see what it looks like with no padding. I think that looks much better actually. I think we want to give it a little bit more, but not 100. So let's just increase that a little bit till it looks good. I think that looks fine just like that. So go ahead and click on Publish and that page is done. But before we leave this page, what we probably actually want to do is save this top section so we can use it on a lot of our internal pages in terms of just having the headline size and the introductory text the right size and style. So what we want to do is click right up here to the middle, right click, and save as template. So I'm just going to call this interior page headline and just click on save. Cool, so then we can reuse that on the pages we're about to build. So let's go ahead and go to exit to dashboard, and then go over to pages, and then add new. So now we want to do a service page. Remember, this website has 4 services, so we're just going to do one, and I'll show you how to duplicate it, and then you can just add in the specific text for that page later. So right now, let's just call this window cleaning and disable all these over here again, and click on Edit with Elementor. Okay, so remember how we saved that template from the last page. So click on the folder icon here and go to My Templates. And we've only got one here, so just click on Insert. Yes. All right, cool. Now all we have to do is just swap out the text for what goes on this page. All right, so now a little bit more content actually has to go on this page. So I'm going to do a 2-column layout under this. Click on the plus and then 2 columns here. Okay, so I'm just going to choose a heading and drag it right on over, and a text editor right underneath that. And let's go ahead and put an image over on the other side. All right, so I'm just going to put in the actual content and then style it. Okay, and then I'm going to choose the image that goes here. Just click on that and then choose image. And I'll just drag one on over and then insert media. All right, cool. And one last step, I just want to put a little call to action button right underneath this to get things going. So click over on the grid and then on button. So just drag it right on over underneath. I'm just going to style that real quick. I'm going to center align it first of all. Okay, so here we have a really simple, nice services page where you can put your prices, a nice little image to accompany that. So click on either publish or update to save your changes. And so this is only one service. We're not going to have to rebuild each one. So here's a nice little trick I'm going to show you. So go back out to the WordPress dashboard. And what we want to do, this is going to give you the flexibility in the future to always be able to duplicate a page and then just change the specific text on that page. So go to plugins, add new, and search on the term duplicate. So right here, duplicate page is the one I want. So just go ahead and click on install now and then activate. So from there, just go over to pages. And so we've got our window cleaning page. All we need to do at this point is click on duplicate this and then just go to quick edit and just let's just say that we're changing that to gutter cleaning now. So you change that, click on update, and then all you need to do is edit with Elementor and then just change all the little like the specific text. So you'd change this to Premier Gutter Cleaning Service, you'd change that text, you'd change the image, and then you just click over on publish. So do that as many times as you need to for all your different services and you're good to go. But now let's go back to our dashboard and create our next page, which is going to be our FAQ page. So click on add new and then just type in FAQs, disabling all of these choices over here, and then edit with Elementor. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is, you guessed it, we're going to add the headline area that we made with a template. So click on the folder, My Templates, Interior Page Headline, Insert, and then yes. Then we're just going to change this text up here. Okay, so once that's done, now we're going to add the actual FAQs in here. So click on the folder and then on blocks. They've actually got a lot of different layouts for questions. So just go under category and choose FAQ. So lots of different choices here. We've got ones where everything, like the question and the answers are all displayed. We've got some where they're basically in more of an accordion style to where you have to click on the question to get the answer. So I tend to prefer that. I'm just going to go ahead and choose this one here and click on insert. So now we've got this kind of layout where as soon as you click on one, it opens it up so people can read the answer. So what you obviously want to do is go into each one of these and change the text to your actual questions and answers. So you'll go over here under content, and that is where you'll do it all. So you just click on each one and you type in your question and then you type in your answer. So let's assume you've done all that. Now I'm just going to quickly show you how you can edit the style. So we're just going to choose the whole section, go up to style. You can change things like the space between each of them. You can make it much closer or further away. That looks fine to me, just like that. If you wanted to add a border, you can do that. So you'd have to choose a color for the border, and then, I don't think we need a border. So then basically what you can do is you've got three different things here. You've got the title, you've got the icon, which is just this little triangle over on the right side. And then you've got the content, which refers to the actual answer portion. So by clicking each one, you can change the style, just like we've been doing the whole time. So click on color, and you can change it to the color you want. I'm just going to change it back to black. But then active color. So basically this one's open, so that's considered active. Maybe I want that text to be blue, just basically showing that this is the one we're looking at. So I'm going to do that. I think that looks pretty cool. And then typography, we can change the size, as big or as small as we want. I think something like that looks nice. Change the weight, the uppercase or lowercaseness of it. I think it all looks fine. What I want to change is the content, because I don't like this really light gray color. So just click on color, and I'm just going to choose black. And then I don't like how the icon is green, so just click on icon, and active color, going to change it to the blue color. Oh, and it's when we chose this block, it came pre-populated with an extra headline and subheadline. So all I'm going to do is right-click, delete, right-click, delete. And again, there's too much space, so I'm just going to choose the section, go over to advanced, and under padding on top, I'm going to drop that down to 0. And I think that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this. So anyway, just click on publish and we're good to go. Okay, so all that's left to do now is to build the header and the footer of the page. And they make it really easy to do this in the Pro version. Unfortunately, we need to use a workaround. We need to use a plugin to get us there on the free version. So what you're going to do is from the dashboard, go over to plugins, add new, and then type in Elementor header footer. And we're looking for this one, Elementor header footer in blocks. So just click on install now and then on activate. Okay, so to start, let's just start with the header. So we're going to go over to appearance and go down to header footer builder and then on add new at the top. Okay, so let's give it a name. Let's just call it header. And then we have to choose the type of template. So because it can either be a header or a footer or these other things. So let's just choose header. And here it's going to ask you where you want it to display. So generally, in most cases, you will just say entire website. And then if there's certain pages you don't want it to appear on, you can add an exclusion rule, but we're not going to do that. And then just click on Edit with Elementor. Okay, so what we want is basically just your logo, links, and then a button. So all we're going to do is have a 3-column layout. So click on the plus and then choose the 3 columns. And here's what we're going to do. We're just going to drag in an image for this column, a text editor for this column, and a button on the right column. And the first thing we need to do here before we forget is we need a white background to go behind here, because if it scrolls down with the page, it's basically just transparent at this point. It looks like it's white here, but if there's like an image behind it, that'll show through. So we want to click the whole section, go to Style, and then Background Type Classic, and then choose Plain White. Okay, so now what we're going to do is put your logo here. So click on the image, and then choose it. And just you're going to take your logo file and just drag it right onto the stage. You've got Omega's logo here, and just click on Insert Media. And I'm probably going to drag it over to where it's kind of more or less the right size, first of all. Now for the text. So this is not the best solution in the world, but it's what we're working with the free version. So what you need to do is just basically take your top pages that you want to include here and just type out the names of them. Okay, so I've typed in the names of all of our pages. So now we just need to kind of mess around with this spacing so it looks decent. And then we need to put in the correct type for the button, so click on that. And under text, we're going to type in get a free quote. So let's go ahead and style it the way we want. And then we're gonna give this a little bit more height to it. Right now it's very thin, and there's not a whole lot of space between the logo and the content of the page. So choose the section, then go under layout, and then under height, say minimum height. So here's where we'll kind of play around with that. I think something like this feels really nice. It feels like there's enough padding between the different sections. And then see how this text is kind of sitting up pretty high? What we want to do is go under vertical align and say middle. That's going to get everything aligned correctly. But then, yeah, the text is still doing that. So I'm going to click the text itself and then go to advanced. And I'm probably going to mess with the margins a little bit. So I'm going to unlink the values. And then on the bottom margin, I'm just going to start decreasing it until it more or less falls in line so it's centered with the rest of the content. And that looks pretty good to me. So now what I'm going to do to finish this off is go over to content. And here we need to actually physically link all of these page titles with the URLs on your website. So just choose each one by one and then click the little link. And you're just going to type in generally just a backslash, and then the name of that URL itself is going to do it. And then we've actually already got, since we've already named our pages, we can actually just click it right there and it works perfectly. And then just click on that to apply it. And we're going to do that with every single one of them. Okay, so now we've got them all set as text links. And then we've got this one. So what we want to do is set a link here as well. So go ahead and click on that. And you're going to go under content. And you're going to set the link for the quote page. So quote request. And then generally speaking, you want your logo to actually link to your homepage. So we're going to choose that. And then we're going to go to content, link, custom URL. And we're just going to do a backslash. That was always going to take us back to the homepage of a site. Last thing we want to do is just click on the section. We want to just give it a nice little drop shadow behind it. So click the section, go to style, and then down to border, and then box shadow. So take a look at that. So that gives it a little separation from the rest of the page, which I think looks pretty nice. So now we're just going to go ahead and click on publish. So now let's test this and let's see what it looks like on the page. So let's exit to dashboard. And we'll find our home page, and then let's click on view. Let's check it out. All right, cool. So we've got it right here. And then if we click on any one of these, let's click on window cleaning. It should take us to the window cleaning page where the header also shows up. And let's click on the get a free quote, and that should take us to that page. All right, fantastic. So now let's go back to the WordPress dashboard, and we're going to work on our header, our footer now rather. So let's go back over to appearance and then header footer builder. And then click on add new, and we're going to call this footer, and then just select that option down here and display on entire website. I'm going to click on publish to make sure it does, and now edit with Elementor. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on the plus icon and give this a 3-column structure. All right, so let's start putting content in here. So I'm going to put an image for the logo. I'm going to put in some text, so I'm going to put in a text editor underneath that. And then I'm going to put in social icons. So let's just type in here social. So we found a little social icons widget here. Let's drag that right underneath. Then we will do a text editor for links over here. And then here's where things get kind of interesting too for SEO. We can drag in a Google map right here. And then I'm also going to put in another text editor for contact information right beneath it. And obviously this looks pretty bad right now. I know that. So let's start getting the content in order, and then we'll mess with the style. So let's add the logo here, choose the image. And we've already put the logo there, so just choose that. And I'm going to make it a little smaller. So under image size, I'm just going to do custom. And I'm going to type in, let's see what maybe 200 pixels looks like across. Might be a little too big. Let's go ahead and do 150. Okay, so 150 looks pretty good. And I'm going to align it to the left. And I'm going to put in some information here. Okay, so we've just got the name of the business, so if anyone Googles it, it's there in text. And then a little bit of more, window cleaning service in Westbury, England. This basically coincides with their Google My Business category, which is great for that local SEO. So now let's go ahead and put in the text links over here. Okay, and then down here, I'm going to put in their actual address and phone number. And then in order to make that appear in the Google Maps, I'm just going to click on that section right here by clicking on the little pencil. And then in location, I'm going to type in the name of the business. As well as the address. And that, if you're already on Google My Business, that's going to pull up your listing right here, and it's a great signal to Google that you are who you say you are. So we've got all the content. Now let's style this. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to add a different background color to it. Okay, so choose the whole section, go up to Style, and then Classic. We're going to input our color right like that. And of course, it's really cramped up top, so let's go over to Advanced and give it some padding. So unlink the values. I'm going to give it 50 up top and probably 50 on the bottom. And I'm going to change the text colors here from that gray color to white. Okay, this is looking pretty good. Now what we want to do is just style these social icons and actually put in the link. So click on that. And here's where you can choose whichever icons you want to do. So here we've got Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. But what if you've got, Instagram or Pinterest? So you just type there. You just type in Instagram and you choose that. And then you put in the link to your actual account right there. So now that you've done that, what we need to do is you can either keep it the same color, the official colors is what they call it, of the social platforms, or you can change it to match your branding better. So you just go up to Style and under Color, change it from official color to custom. And then from there, you can choose any color you want. You can then go up to if you want to give it a little bit more space between them, you can do that. You can just slide it out like so. You can give it more padding like that. I think that looks fine just like that. But the last thing I want to do is go to content, and I just want to left justify this so it looks a little cleaner. But yeah, this looks pretty good to me for a footer. So all we need to do then is click on update and then check out our homepage to see if it's in fact showing up. Okay, so we're at the homepage. Of course, we've got the header. We knew that. Let's go scroll on down, and there we've got our footer. And that should be applying across the board to all other of the pages as well. So last thing you're going to want to do is just take this button, just click on it and make sure it's linked up to the quote page, as well as these buttons. Remember, these go to your different service pages. Just click on those one by one and set the links. But here we've got a really nice, clean looking homepage and whole site actually that really fits the content in a really nice way, lets people know exactly why they would want to work with you. And it has a really clean, modern approach. And using these principles we went over today, you can make absolutely any kind of website and any kind of page you ever need to. So there's only one step left, and that's just to go back out to the dashboard. And right up here where it says Coming Soon Active, you're just going to go ahead and click on that. And finally, on the blue Launch Your Site button, that's going to put the whole thing live out to the world. And then click on View Site to see what you got. But we've got this page. This isn't the home page, right? So yeah, one more thing we got to do, go over to Dashboard and then down to Settings and then Reading. What we're doing now is just basically setting the home page, which page is displaying when people go to your site. So your homepage displays, click on a static page, and then for homepage, just choose the homepage that you've designed and then save changes. So then let's go back to just your domain name, and then let's see if the homepage is displaying. There we go, all set up exactly as we intended it. So that was a whole lot to cover, but I want to make sure you really know what needs to go on your site for it to be as profitable as possible for your service business. So I have a really helpful free video masterclass, how to create and launch your own profitable client-generating website. And you can get into that on-demand video training by going to wesmcdowell.com/training. Just sign up and I'm going to email you the video immediately. So just click right up here and I'll see you inside the training.